In 10.4, you're going to learn how to interpret stem and leaf plots and histograms, and you're also going to learn how to plot them. Let's first take a look at the stem and leaf plot. It's a data display that organizes data based on their digits. Each value is separated into a stem, in which we call the leading digits, and a leaf, which is the last digit. It also has a key that tells you how to read the data. The stem and leaf plot, it also shows how data are distributed. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to make a stem and leaf plot. The number of home runs hit by the 20 baseball players with the best single-season batting averages in the Major League Baseball since 1900 are listed below. Make a stem and leaf plot of the data. Now the first step here is to separate the data into stems and leaves. So I'm going to first title the stem and leaf plot home runs, and I typed that for you. Now I'm going to start doing my stem. Now I'm going to look at my data here, and I notice that I have numbers that have only one digit. So I'm going to have a 0 as one of my stems because the most number of digits is 2. So I see that I have a 1 here. I'm also going to use 1. I'm going to look for my biggest number. So that one should be, let's see, 4. Let's see, 42. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and now I'm going to start from the first value, 14. So 14, it starts with 1, so I'm going to put the 4 here as my leaf. And then 25, I'm going to put the 5 here as the leaf. And then 8, well, it doesn't have a tens place, so I'm going to put 8 here, 0, 8. And I have another one. I'm going to start crossing these out so I don't leave one out. And then we have 7, 7. Cross these out. And then we have 1, 9. Then we have 3, 7. 3, 9. 1, 8. 4, 2. 2, 3. 0, 4. 3, 2. 1, 4. 2, 1. 3 goes here. 1, 2. 1, 9. 4, 1. So it seems like we're breaking the numbers in half. Okay, this is again just a way to represent how the data is distributed. Now we can't leave the stem and leaf plot like this. It needs to be a little bit more organized. So we need to write the leaves in increasing order. So I'm going to write my stems again, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to order all of these rows from least to greatest. So here I'm going to begin with 3, 4, 7, 7, 8, 8. And then 2, 4, and another 4, 8, 9, 9. And then 1, 3, 5. 2, 7, 9, and then for 4 you have 1 and 2. And then you write your key. Well, for your key, you can use any of these. So I'm going to just pick 0 and 8 for now. So you write 0 bar 8 equals 8 home runs. So there's no particular rule for writing the 8, so just to keep things simple, 0, 8, or you could do 0, 3, it's totally fine. It just tells you where the split off is. Now I'm going to explain to you how to interpret a stem and leaf plot. The back-to-back stem and leaf plot shows the ages of members of the U.S. men's and women's 2004 Olympic gymnastic teams. Compare the ages of the gymnasts on the two teams. Okay, again, You see how this is being labeled as 2004 Olympic gymnast ages? And by reading this stem and leaf plot, we can give an interval of 10 to 19 years old. And we can say they are all women. So from here you read it as 16 years old, and then we got two of them, and an 18-year-old, 18-year-old, and that's why I just randomly selected an interval of 10 to 19. Okay, and you can, as long as the interval is reasonable, it's fine. Okay, and then for 20, well, we have 21 here. From how to read this is you take 2 and you read it backwards. 21 years old, 21 years old, 23, 24, 27, and so forth. So we have people we have men actually that's aged between 20 and 21 years old. And what can we conclude about this? The men's team was generally older than the women's team. So basically, when you're reading these stem and leaf plots, you want to find the big idea to interpret. And now we have the frequency table. It's actually a data display that groups data values into equal intervals with no gaps between intervals and no intervals overlapping. And I'll show you what I mean by that later. And after you make a frequency table, you can actually turn it into a histogram. Let me first show you how to make a frequency table. Now let's take this example, sandwich prices. The prices of sandwiches at a restaurant are listed below. Make a histogram of the data. But before we make a histogram, we need to make a frequency table. So right here to the left here, I have a frequency table set up for you. And technically you're supposed to make the chart yourself or the table yourself. So by looking at all the prices, my lowest price is $4 and my highest price is, let's see, around $5.75. Yeah. So then I'm gonna establish an interval here, and I see that I have $4.25, $4.50. So I'm gonna do an interval of $4 to $4.49. Well, you could have different intervals, but I think this is a pretty reasonable one. And then my next interval will be $4.50 to $4.99. And then my next one will be obviously $5 to $5.49. And then $5.50 to $5.99. Well, these intervals will cover all the prices listed above here. So let's start tallying these up. So for prices that are between $4 and $4.49, I see I have $4 here, one tally, $4 again, another tally, $4.25, tally again, $4.50 is above $4.49, so I need to put it in the next row. So that's done with. Then we have $4.75. $4.75 also falls between the second group here. And then we got $4.25. $4.25 back to the first row. And then $5.95 is in the last row. And then $5.50 last row. Another $5.50, and then $5.75 last row. And then you don't have any for the third row. Okay, now this frequency table is done. Histogram here is a data display again that shows a bar graph that displays data from a frequency table. Each bar represents an interval of equal size. So basically, as you can see here, these are all equal sized. A bar's length indicates the frequency, or how often something occurs, and which the number of data values in that interval. And there is no space between the bars. So I'm going to start making my histogram here. I refer to the frequency table. And first I need to label my histograms. I did you a favor and I printed out these cell boxes for you. But when I ask you to make a histogram, you need to actually draw one, okay? And then here I'm going to set the intervals for you, 0, 2, 4. And then I'm going to leave a little space here. Here's $4 to $4.49. $4.50 to $4.99. $5 to $5.49, and then $5.50 to $5.99. Okay, we'll try to make these bars as equal size as possible. Don't have to be so perfect. Well, the first one you have 4, so my apology. I should erase this and bring the bar higher. And then remember, you cannot have any gaps in between. No gaps. Let's see. Okay, just no space in between the bars. So for $4.50 to $4.99, I have 2 of them. So I'm going to draw right here. See how these are connected? I don't have a gap here. Okay, and then for this part, since there's nothing, we can just leave it down here. You don't have to draw a bar. Okay, and then here, I'm going to bring the bar up to 4 again. And you may be wondering, well, there's a gap here. Well, that's because there's no sandwiches priced between $5 and $5.49, so that's okay. Okay? Okay, when you make a stem and leaf plot of this data here, you want to first look at what you have. Well, there's 3 digits, and remember, the leaf can only have 1 digit, so you have to make the cutoff here. So I'm going to write down key before I forget. Well, you have 12, 12, 13, 11, 10, 18. Well, this 18 seems to be the biggest one for now. And you got another 10. And you have 12 again, 15, 17, 14. So I'm seeing that 10 is the smallest one. So I'm going to begin with 10 for my stem. And then 18 to be my biggest stem. Okay, so I've already written this down for you to save time. And now I'm not going to worry about the order. I'm going to start with 121. So I'm going to go to 1, 2, and put the 1 next to it. I'm going to draw a line to cut the stem and leaf. And then 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 3, 1, 1, 1, and 1, 0, 9, 1, 8, 2, 1, 0, 5, 1, 2, 7, and 156, 179, and 142. Now, I'm ready to put this in order. So the first one will be 59, 1, you don't need to do anything to that. 147 is already in order. And 13, 3, there's only 1, don't have to worry. 2, 6, okay, and then 16, don't have one for it. So you can skip that one, and then you can move on to 179, and then 182. And then I drew a key. I just used the first one, 10, 5 equals 105. It just tells us how to read the stem and leaf plot. And here we have the answer. Now, what if you have decimal numbers? Well, you still do the same thing. Oh, by the way, your notes must be cut off. Can you please add the last number, 1.35? And I would like to let you know that you still follow the same logic. You would cut off the last digit and make that the leaf, and everything else will be part of the stem. So as I say, this part is the stem, this part is the leaf. So let's look at your data here. You have 1.2, 1.0, which seems to be the smallest for now. 1.1, 1.2 again, 1.3, 1.1 again, 1.4, 1.2, 1.1. Okay, so the biggest one, the biggest stem we have here is 1.4, and then the smallest one is 1.0. So I'm gonna start a stem of with 1.0 and then end with a stem of 1.4. Now I'm going to go down the list again, 1.23, I'm going to put the 3 here as my first leaf, and 1.05, 1.11, 1.29, 1.31, 1.19 again, is it? No, there's only one, sorry. And then 1.45, 1.22, and then 1.19, let's see, 1.19. And then 1.35, and then let's double check this. 5.139. Okay, and then we need this in order: 5, 1, 9, 9, 2, 3, 9, 1, 5, and 5. And then I'm just gonna use this first one here as my key. So the cutoff will be 1.0, the line here, and then 5. And this would be read as 1.05. So as you can see, this is just a way to represent data. Okay, let's look at a real life word problem that involves frequency tables and histograms. A survey asked people how many 8-ounce glasses of water they drink in one day. The results are below, and let's make a histogram of the data. But before we do that, let's make a frequency table so that it will be more organized. Well, by looking at the data here, they're very close to each other, so I'm going to find the smallest number, which is 0, and then the biggest number here will be 11. And I need to establish an interval, and I've written them down for you already. I think 0 to 2 will be a reasonable interval to use, okay? So I was able to group them into 4 categories of equal size. So now I'm gonna start tallying my the number of people per category or per interval. So 3 will go in the second category, and then 0, first one, 9, last one, 1, first one again, 4, and then I'm gonna just finish this off silently. Okay, I see that I have 21 values. I'm gonna double check that I tallied these correctly. So 6, 7, 4, 4, so this makes 13 and this makes 8. Yeah, we got 21. Now, we're ready to build this histogram here. So, first of all, I'm gonna title this as water intake. You can title it anything as long as it follows the word question, and your vertical labeling would be the number, people. So I'm gonna take it from 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. You can decide the interval yourself. You can start with intervals of 1 if you like. And then my categories: 0 to 2, 3 to 5, 6 to 8, and 9 to 11, so no gaps in between. So for 0 to 2, I have 6 people. For 3 to 5, I have 7 people, so halfway. For 6 to 8, I have 4. And just pretend that these bar graphs have the same width. Okay, and it's not perfectly drawn, which is okay. Okay, and this concludes the lesson.